Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time On Target morning briefing, where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. And happy Veterans Day to all the veterans that are out there joining us. Got a good show for you today. We're going to talk about investing in Chinese technology. We just had Alibaba's Singles Day wrap up, which is kind of their big annual retail day with record numbers. The names have been kind of hit hard lately due to some regulation internal to China. So there's a lot. Good entry point here, I think, and we're going to talk about a lot of the opportunities there and the different names that are out there. If you're catching us on replay, please do subscribe so you can catch us on a daily basis. If you want to join us live, we got a bunch of us in the room. We chat with each other via a chat room and Q&A window, and I'll answer any questions that you have. It only costs $25 a month. Check us out at OTOTnow.com. With that, let's go ahead and get started.
And just because of the growth of the company, the stock is beginning and lately people keep on it today. Got a badly.
All right, good morning again, and welcome back. I will try to last as long as possible with my voice today. You can probably tell it's off a little bit due to allergies. I'm on Zysol and Claritin and took Benadryl and trying to get past this. But once we start on a coughing fit, that's when we'll probably end the show this morning. But we'll see how far we get, and we go from there. All right, make sure you welcome everybody again. Happy Veterans Day to the veterans in the room. It's kind of weird, a Veterans Day. I'm normally speaking somewhere or doing something or attending an event, and zero. As far as I know, I'll celebrate on Facebook with everybody else. If you saw my post, if we're friends on Facebook, which several of you are, that whole, I remember sitting. It's about it's a little meme about the Iraq, or Middle East, just in general, water bottles, and says, now they come up with it. Don't drink any water that's been sitting out in the sun for a while. Well, goodness, we had pallets of that stuff. You could have built a palace out of the pallets of water that sat out in the 120-degree sun. And having spent the better part of a year and a half total in the Middle East, and drinking 5 to 10 of these bottles a day of water is kind of crazy to think. And I remember sitting there looking at it, going, "That can't be good, right?" But anyway, so here we are. I've survived to this point. All right, so let's see where we are. Disclaimer, this is a financial education presentation, so make sure you do your own due diligence before you take any action on any recommendations that you hear this morning. All right, our mission and objectives for today is, number one, to get through the briefing. Secondly, is to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. The particular theme we're talking about today is investing in Chinese technology, which is speculative. It is all about growing our money. It is not a place for you if you don't like things that are on the move. I will show you individual names, but even the ETF moves. I think it moved down 4% yesterday. So you really get a lot of motion out of this, which is good if you are a kind of a hop in when I dare say market timer, but certainly looking for opportunities to load up on things. Each of these names, they get hit over time, and there's certainly some pristine entry points on some Chinese technology going forward. So we'll talk about that. All right. Also, I'll talk about a question that I spent a little bit with the client yesterday, setting their brokerage account up. You can set your brokerage account up. I do it now. I think it's just the coolest thing ever, so I want to share it with you. But it's kind of advanced later on down the road. But you can really ditch your bank and let Schwab become your bank. You can write checks out of your account. You can have your auto pay going right from Schwab. You can have your direct deposit if you get maybe a retirement check, such as myself. You can have it go into the account. You have a debit card out of the account. When you go get your next home mortgage, you can take it right out of your brokerage. You can take a loan against your brokerage at a better rate that you're going to get from any bank because it's backed by you. And we're talking your taxable accounts. We're not talking even taking a loan off your IRA or things like that, which you can do. I generally try to tell people you should avoid that because you're kind of robbing your future there. But out of a taxable account, absolutely. So anyhow, pretty cool setup. We'll talk about that today. Our flow is going to be long, short, open, short, long, followed intermissions with coughs. And we will go market review, take a look at the headlines this morning. We'll talk about our long-term investments. There's our 5 names that we're going to take a look at. They're all kind of a Chinese version of an American equivalent. And then KWeb, if you've seen that pop up in your portfolios, I'm a big buyer of KWeb right here just because it's got so much room to go higher. All right, we'll do some day trading if we get to it. I have not really looked. I saw 2 longs this morning in Lyft and TME, which is 10 Cent Music, which is a Chinese firm. And then, we were up last month. We were down 3 last week, even this week. So we're looking to improve on that. And we'll execute the market open and get to your questions. Contingencies are standard. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the CNBC.com and get over to the correct screen. There we go. Refresh this for you. So there you go. Jumper chiming in with some Veterans Day plans. Well, at least you have some. I literally don't have plans at all. All right, here's your pre-market. Let's see what we have here. Pretty much green across the board. The Dow's been in the green. The NASDAQ's been in the red. That's been kind of the transition now to the value names post the vaccine, potential vaccine from Pfizer and BioNTech coming down the line. So what you have is that's a rotation. I think that's going to snap back, and it's going to snap back pretty hard when people stare at their boring investments over in the value side that they moved up once and then they tend to sit there. So, the gains have kind of already been made in the cruise lines and the airlines. So road money they'll take profits there and move it right back into tech is what I think. That may take a week or a month but I think it happens before the end of the year. So excuse me. All right, let's look at Europe in green across the board. Asia mixed, nothing moving big there. Japan moving up almost 2%. That's pretty big. Here's our numbers from yesterday. What we're talking about is, a mixed board. You don't see that a whole lot. Bonds have been kind of healing significantly here. We're almost up to 1%, which is kind of crazy to say, but that is a significant improvement from where we've been. So we'll take that. Oil's been healing as well, all the way up to 42.5 there. Precious metals, again, selling off. That makes sense. Election's over. No blue waves, so you don't need to dig your bunker. Some people will still dig their bunker and hide their gold and put their Bitcoin passwords down there as well. So because everything is going to go to zero, I guess, is the philosophy. But that's where we stand. Go back to the pre-market headlines. Vaccine rally going into the 3rd day. It's been a good week. It has. Banks are the best comeback. Banks are the banks are the best comeback trade. Get aggressive, and you wonder why we can't trust banks. I mean, come on, man. Net interest margin, which is like the interest rates are at 0. Banks aren't making nearly as much money as they're used to making. And Wells Fargo, the name that you used to be able to trust, the stagecoach, and it's been around forever. And then they were sitting there opening accounts under your name and getting compensated for it. So anyhow, massive layoffs. Wells Fargo's been in trouble. I would not touch it with the 10-foot pole. Banks, if you're going to have one, you're going to have JP Morgan. You might have Bank of America. I could buy that too. But for the most part, I'm out of the banks. Okay, here's what we're talking about today. Chinese tech giants have lost more than 280 billion in market value as regulatory concerns mount. So that's internal to China. There's a lot of, this is kind of an aftermath of the Ant Financial was supposed to spin off Alibaba, and somebody in the government threw a flag on it and said, not so fast. We need to do some work on y'all, make sure all this is above board. So that's spilled out into all of tech. Everybody's a little nervous, so the names are selling off hard. That is such a clear buy signal. I'm not worried about it. If you're worried, stay out of the names. But if you're not worried about it, then you can hop on in with both feet. Goldman, I went to, there's a 3-day in Goldman Sachs Investors Conference. So 3 hours a day for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So that really is what I'm doing from the comfort of my own home. And also Blackstone had a 2-hour presentation yesterday about 2021. Everybody's pretty positive because of the exact gridlock that we have set up, and the fact that there's a vaccine. Now stimulus seems almost assured. So it's almost like the social unrest due to either race relations or the craziness post-election, all of that seems to be kind of dying down. There will be some event, I'm sure, that will torch it off again. But for the most part, other than if your party lost and you're griping about recounts and worried about what the next 4 years is going to look like, all in all, things are pretty calm. When you talk about U.S. and foreign relations, things are pretty calm too, because Trump obviously is not somebody that I would want to sit across the table from and have to deal with. I'd prefer that he'd be on my side, but he's not there anymore. So he's, we don't have to worry about him going out there and saying, incendiary things with other countries, or at least we won't be saying him as a president. I'll probably still say them as next president. We'll see. But with that, when you say it's like, okay, we'll see. I think there could be a huge 2021, and of course 2020 has been kind of so terrible that people are probably looking forward to the change anyway, which again, emotions roll right over into the market. You could say they should or they shouldn't, but they do. All right, that's it for that. We'll take a look. I am long-winded because I started late, so we'll look at Chinese tech. We'll talk more after because we're about 3 minutes from the open. Alibaba, here's where we are. This is why I like this entry point. This chart's been kind of crushed. There's no real short float of significance. It doesn't pay dividends, but it's got a nice low PE for everything it does. The end, Alibaba is the Chinese Amazon, if you will. So that's the chart. Let's go ahead and take a look over at Schwab real quick. We'll take a look at, here's Alibaba, the chart I just showed you, good entry points. Tencent sold off. Tencent is video games and things. It's a holding company. IQ is the Chinese Netflix. It's still maintaining pretty strong. Baidu is the Chinese Google. We have Luckin Coffee. Much of you know that story. And then, of course, here's K-Web with a good entry point right there. All right. For our 2 day trades, we are going to go over to, I don't have anything short. I'll look here in a second. We have go ahead and set your charts up. Make sure I shared this out correctly. Don't see the green box that I normally would have. I'll have to trust it's there. If you don't see anything, hit me in the chat so I know to do this again. So you have your SPY, you have your lift, which again, lift beat earnings. So it's gapping up even though it's selling off here. So we'll keep an eye on that, looking for it to go higher. Tencent Music is lightly traded, so we have to give that a second, but they also beat earnings and are gapping up by 5%. And then disregard PLTR. I'm going to try to find a short here in the last few minutes on another screen. Going to my decliners. All right. Datadog. All right, Datadog, DDOG is our short for the day. It's down 8%. It's at 250,000 shares. Let me pull up the headline there while I set the chart up. DDOG. So there's Datadog. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target, a play of the day. We have 4 screens in front of you. I have the SPY on the left and a 1-minute chart so we can track the movement of the market. The futures are up, so trending higher there. We have Lyft as a long. They beat earnings. That's in our left middle pane. It's selling off right now, so we'll kind of keep an eye on that. TME is the right middle pane. That is a Tencent Music, Chinese firm. That is gapping up as well. And then on the far right, we have our short, which is Datadog, which, let's see, notable earnings guidance. They're gapping down from missing earnings for Datadog there. So that's why we're taking a look at that name. And it meets our strategy very well. All right, we'll zoom in here. Lyft is down 2.8 now, or gapping up 2.8. So I kind of like that entry point for going long. Market striping down, so we'll keep an eye on that. Here's our Datadog. So let's take a look here at Datadog short. TME is selling off in the red, so we're not touching that. short as well. Boy, this thing is flopping around for Datadog. You're going to need a dollar stop if you get into Datadog. Well, that is just moving too much for me. Let's go back to Lyft and Lyft long. Pull it up on another screen, check something out. All right. Pull up Datadog on another screen too. Checking it out. Not in anything yet. We're just kind of being patient this morning. Boy, Datadog is the play here. Oh, when to get in on this? It's already down 9%. Well, that volatility is just huge in that name. All right, we'll look at another, see if we got anything else going on here. While that kind of waiting for Datadog just to simmer down a little bit. Zoom is going higher. We're going to get rid of TME. All right, let's look at the chart on Zoom and see how hard it sold off. So here's what you have for selling off in Zoom. It's just kind of bouncing up from there. Don't like that. The price point is kind of tough. So not going to look at that. Let's see, Trade Desk. Trade Desk gapping up, but not so much. Boy, this thing is flopping all over the place. I don't know. I don't think I can hop into that. Let's check out LKNCY. Luck and getting smoked down 4%. All right, if we were to get into Lyft, it would have to be north of 37.50. Yeah, that Datadog selling off. I'm not in that. I'm not going to try to grab it here. All right, let's get rid of me there. All right. So bottom at 36.8, 40 cents would be up at 37.2, and just blew through the bottom there. All right, I don't think we're going to get a trade today. Let me check the decliners again. Not much on the way down. We're at cannabis. You know, pot stocks have been on fire. We'll take a look at ACB here. It's off almost 20% today, over 20% now. So again, we don't touch these when they get hit this hard. But as far as an entry point for marijuana and marijuana-related names, this is a pretty good one. Okay, it's 4 minutes in. I am giving up on the trade today. These things are not making sense. And so let's go ahead and switch gears over to the long names. So here's our SPY that we looked at. We didn't get to the 5-day review, but again, this was Monday where we gapped up significantly, kind of sold off through the day. Remember, the gap up was the big vaccine news from the weekend, kind of sold off through the day. If you remember me talking a while back that if you break out, it was like the past 50 years of the market, the open hours of the market are actually down. So it's interesting the fact that the gains are made from gapping up overnight, but actually open market hours averages out to a net negative, which is kind of crazy. So then you saw yesterday kind of bebopped along about even here in the S&P 500. So we'll see what today holds. All right, looking off to the left, we have some names over here. Northwest Bio up 12%. Palantir's up 6%. It got hit pretty bad and dropped all the way down to 14 something yesterday after running up. I mean, this thing's been on the move. So go back to, this is last Wednesday over here. It was down at 10.50 and now it's up at $15. That's a 40% move. Pretty much straight off, sold off, and now it's kind of resuming its move back higher there. I like that. All right, Clickstream, Qualtron, PayPal some gaming names. I think the gaming names are another good space to get into going into Christmas season with the new Xbox, new PlayStation. So a whole slew of new games will be coming out for all that. So you see ATVIs in here, and then I saw another one, EA, down here in the green as well as Sony. All good video game names. All right, marijuana name, 10 Cent Holdings and Luckin, both Chinese tech. Canopy Growth. Remember you saw that's also marijuana. ACB is the one that's selling off almost 20%. Raytheon down a little bit. Kohl's down a little bit. There's Alibaba selling off. I'm still a big buyer here. Okay, so plenty of names in the red. As far as overall in the market, we have the Dow's barely in the green. We have the NASDAQ up over 1%. And then the S&P is about 0.5%. So kind of that rotating back starting already. Apple up 1%, Micron up a couple percent, Salesforce up. So some of the tech names getting some life back in them today. All right, let's switch over to the Chrome screen, and I'll close up for today. A little bit of a short session. It looks like my voice is going to make it, which is good news. Okay, so I talked earlier about how to set up your brokerage account for the how to set it up as a bank account. So again, you can do direct deposit if you have income coming in. It has the same check. It has the same account number and routing number as a bank account. You just go into your Schwab, your function as a bank account. And same thing with the debit card. I have traditionally been a credit card user and then just paying it off at the end of the month. But if you're a debit card type person, or you need to make a large purchase, i.e. pay for a roof, buy a new car, those are things where you have cash available to you to be able to do that. The person I was talking to yesterday had over 6 figures sitting in cash. And I'm like, well, you might as well throw it in the brokerage account and make 3 to 4% in investment grade bonds. And then anytime, get your debit card. And that way, when you have to get your hands on your $30,000 to $40,000 that you think you need overnight, which hasn't happened in my lifetime, but I don't know what y'all are into. You have a debit card that you're able to use that for, because now you don't have that limit like your credit limit does. So, oh yeah, Lyft worked. It flipped back. I'm going to look at it on another chart. Oh yeah, Lyft did work. I wouldn't have gotten in until 37.50. But yeah, Lyft worked. Thanks. Who is that? Burner. Thank you. It looks like it's getting some decent life in it. Up back over 5%. I like it. Good job. Hopefully you made some money there. You can brag about it if you like. I always like to see good numbers in the room. So that's how you can set up your brokerage account. Again, you can have checks and everything really right out of there. I haven't gotten rid of my other account, which of course is a veteran, is USAA. But I think its days probably limited. So there's not really much I need them for. Yeah, I'm looking at Lyft. It's really taken off now. So, all right, plus 300. I like it. Well done. Hopefully that's probably 3R for you, or maybe that's 1R, depending on your R size. Okay. All right. That's all I have for today. A little bit shortened presentation just because of the my voice in there. I wanted to start late and was a little bit behind due to that most of the day. With that, we will enjoy your Veterans Day. Hopefully you find something to do today to celebrate, and we will see you guys all back tomorrow. Bye.